The universe's greatest heroes went silent watching humans train. The galaxy was vast, and yet in a quiet corner of it, the universe's greatest heroes gathered. They were beings whose names echoed across star systems, known for their intelligence, strength, and courage. They had charted unknown worlds, solved crises that could have destroyed civilizations, and achieved feats that many considered impossible. Today, however, they were not here to perform acts of heroism. Today, they were here to watch. News had arrived in subtle whispers, carried by interstellar communications that traveled faster than light. Humans were conducting a training program, not a battle, not a mission, not even a diplomatic negotiation, simply training. The idea was almost laughable to the legends. They had seen humans in action before, and had sometimes dismissed them as clever but fragile, unpredictable, and unremarkable in comparison to the seasoned heroes of the galaxy. Yet the reports insisted. The humans were doing something extraordinary, something that drew attention even from the most distant and accomplished of the universe's protectors. From the observation deck of the station orbiting a serene blue star, the legends watched. Some were curious, others skeptical, and a few tried to hide a spark of excitement in their eyes. Captain Lior, the human leading this program, was unaware of the attention his planet had attracted. He moved among a group of trainees with calm authority, guiding them through exercises designed to challenge every part of their minds and bodies. His eyes, a sharp blue, scanned each participant, noting their strengths, their hesitations, and the moments when they discovered potential within themselves they had never realized existed. The training ground was remarkable in its simplicity. Humans often lacked the advanced equipment that alien civilizations relied upon for skill development, yet the space was filled with inventive tools, strange but effective contraptions, and open areas that encouraged both physical and mental growth. It was a place where imagination met discipline. The legends could not see the purpose immediately, but even from a distance, they sensed the rhythm of something different, something profoundly human. Myra, one of the youngest trainees, moved swiftly through a set of exercises that involved coordination, memory, and logic. Her movements were precise yet fluid, her mind attentive to subtle patterns. Captain Lior watched her with a quiet pride, knowing that she, like the others, was learning not just to perform tasks, but to understand themselves. Each exercise tested endurance, focus, and adaptability, but also creativity and teamwork. Humans, he believed, were strongest when they discovered ways to support one another rather than compete. The legends observed silently. They were the best the galaxy had ever seen, and yet they felt a strange hesitation. There was no spectacle of power here, no grand display of energy or magic. The humans moved with determination, not arrogance. They solved puzzles that seemed simple but required ingenuity. They adapted to sudden changes, improvised solutions with limited resources, and encouraged each other when one faltered. The legends whispered among themselves, surprised at how captivating this display had become. One legend, a being whose intellect had saved entire star systems from collapse, leaned toward another. "Do they know what they are doing?" they asked. Their voice was low, more curiosity than doubt. The other replied, "I am not sure." But whatever it is fascinating. The two continued to watch as humans carried out a series of exercises that combined mental acuity with physical agility. A simple obstacle course, to most, would have seemed trivial. But the humans approached it as if every step mattered, every decision could shift the outcome, every collaboration mattered. Captain Lior called the group together for a brief discussion. "Today," he said, "we focus on understanding the unexpected. Every challenge you face will change. You must adapt, communicate, and think for yourselves. The goal is not to be perfect, but to grow stronger in ways you cannot yet imagine." His voice carried calm authority, but also warmth. The trainees listened intently. They had learned to trust his guidance, and in that trust, they discovered confidence in themselves. Myra's eyes sparkled with anticipation. She had always been clever, quick to analyze situations, but this training was pushing her boundaries further than ever. She glanced at her teammates, seeing the same determination reflected in their faces. Even the smallest humans seemed undaunted by tasks that might have overwhelmed others. They laughed when they stumbled, shared ideas openly, and encouraged one another without hesitation. It was a display of unity the legends found both unusual and deeply compelling. The first exercise began in silence. A set of puzzles designed to test logic and memory, combined with a timed physical component, required the trainees to work together. The humans moved with an almost instinctive coordination, noticing subtle cues from each other, adjusting their strategies in real time. Myra solved a part of the puzzle that had puzzled others, then quickly guided a teammate through a different section, her mind moving faster than any machine could calculate. The legends watched, silent and captivated. Their eyes, trained to see through illusions and detect strategy in battle, struggled to anticipate what the humans would do next. Every move seemed unpredictable yet perfectly effective. It was a form of skill that the universe's greatest heroes had rarely encountered, ingenuity born from collaboration, creativity, and instinct. The humans were not merely following instructions, they were learning, adapting, and improving with each attempt. As the day progressed, the humans faced challenges that changed every hour. Simulations shifted, physical obstacles transformed, and the rules of the exercises evolved unexpectedly. Captain Lior encouraged them to remain flexible, to analyze each situation, and to trust their instincts. The legends noticed something remarkable. Where most species would have panicked or stalled, the humans thrived. They approached uncertainty with curiosity, embraced mistakes as lessons, and discovered solutions that were simple yet brilliant. The observation station hummed quietly above, filled with beings who had once believed themselves untouchable. They had faced cosmic catastrophes, defeated enemies with unimaginable power, and yet here they were, mesmerized by humans learning, growing, and adapting. It was a humbling experience. No one spoke of rank, strength, or fame. Only the humans and their unwavering determination occupied the minds of the legends. Myra paused for a moment to catch her breath, her thoughts racing. She had never considered that her efforts, her team's collaboration, could draw the attention of beings so extraordinary. Yet in that moment, she felt a quiet pride, knowing that they were accomplishing something meaningful. The exercises were difficult, sometimes frustrating, but they revealed strength that no one had expected, not just in her, but in every human present. By mid-afternoon, the humans had completed a sequence of exercises that would have daunted many. Captain Lior gathered them in a circle and spoke gently. "Look at what you have achieved today. Not because you are stronger than anyone else, but because you worked together, adapted, and trusted yourselves. This is how humans grow. This is how you prepare to face challenges that may seem impossible." The legends, watching from afar, exchanged silent glances. Some shook their heads in disbelief, others simply leaned forward, unable to look away. They had come expecting curiosity, perhaps amusement. Instead, they found inspiration. Humans, ordinary by galactic standards, displayed a combination of skill, creativity, and resilience that was difficult to comprehend. Every gesture, every decision, every small act of cooperation revealed a species capable of greatness that had been underestimated for too long. As the sun dipped below the horizon on Earth, casting a warm glow across the training ground, Captain Lior allowed the trainees a moment of rest. Myra and her teammates sat together, talking quietly, reflecting on what they had learned. The legends, hidden and silent above, continued to watch. They had seen countless beings, civilizations, and heroes, yet none had approached the quiet brilliance of humans working together, learning and striving. For the first time in generations, the universe's greatest heroes felt a strange sensation. They were silent, not out of boredom, but out of awe. The humans had captured something essential, something beyond strength, beyond skill, beyond fame. It was a spark of ingenuity, determination, and cooperation that no legend had truly mastered. And in that silence, the legends understood that this was only the beginning. Myra looked toward the horizon, feeling the gentle breeze, and thought of the challenges yet to come. She did not know the legends were watching, nor did she need to. Her focus was on learning, improving, and discovering what humans were capable of. And as the first part of their training came to an end, the quiet truth became clear. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and the humans themselves were only just beginning to realize their own potential. Above, the observation station remained still, a silent witness to the unfolding story. The universe's greatest heroes had gone silent, not from disbelief, but from recognition. They had witnessed something extraordinary, something uniquely human. And somewhere deep inside, They knew that what they were seeing would change the way the galaxy viewed humans forever. The stars began to twinkle, and Earth's blue glow softened in the fading light. Captain Lior smiled, unaware of the cosmic audience, proud of his trainees. Myra stretched, a sense of accomplishment warming her chest, and the humans prepared for the next stage of their journey. The galaxy watched silently, and for the first time it began to understand that greatness was not always measured in power or legacy. It could be found in determination, imagination, and the courage to grow beyond expectations. The next morning, the sun rose over the training ground, casting golden light across the open fields and strange, inventive equipment. Mist hung lightly in the air, softening the edges of the obstacles and giving the place a magical feel. Captain Lior arrived early, as always, and observed the human trainees quietly. He noted how each one had changed overnight. Their confidence was higher, their movements more precise, and their minds sharper. Myra, she stretched her arms and looked around at her teammates. Everyone was ready, their eyes reflecting a mix of excitement and determination. Today, Captain Lior had planned something new, a series of exercises meant to push their thinking and cooperation further than ever before. These challenges were not just about solving puzzles or running through physical courses. They were about creativity, intuition, and learning to see possibilities where others saw obstacles. The first exercise began with a simple instruction: navigate the maze. At first glance, it seemed ordinary: walls, corridors, and paths that twisted and turned. But Captain Lior had hidden subtle clues throughout the maze. Some were visual patterns, others sounds or movements. The goal was not speed, but awareness and insight. Myra, she immediately noticed that the walls seemed to change slightly as she moved. She crouched to look closer, spotting faint markings that indicated the best route. She called quietly to a teammate, guiding them toward a section of the maze that others might overlook. Meanwhile, the legends watched silently from their hidden stations above. At first, they expected little from humans in such a test. Mazes were simple for many alien species, some of whom had navigated entire planets with ease. Yet the humans did not just follow paths. They observed, they interpreted, and they learned from the maze itself. Every action was thoughtful, deliberate, and unexpectedly clever. The legends began to lean closer, whispering among themselves. "They notice things we would miss," one said, "and they connect them in ways impossible to anticipate," another replied. As the maze exercise continued, Myra, she found herself at a point where two walls intersected strangely. She paused and listened. A soft hum echoed from a nearby panel, almost imperceptible. Using her memory and intuition, she understood that the hum corresponded with a movement pattern in the maze. Carefully, she led a teammate along a path that appeared impossible, their steps perfectly timed with the hum. The two reached the next checkpoint, where Captain Lior smiled knowingly. "Excellent observation," he said, his voice calm but encouraging. "You didn't just follow instructions, you learned from your environment." The humans continued through the maze, each finding unique ways to solve problems. Some created patterns to communicate silently, others experimented with timing and movement. Every attempt was a lesson, every mistake a chance to understand better. By the end, every trainee had completed the challenge, but not a single path had been the same. Each human had discovered their own solution, reflecting creativity and intelligence that the legends could not help but admire. After the maze, Captain Lior led the group to the next challenge: the puzzle towers. These were tall, modular structures that required the humans to assemble pieces into functional designs. The twist was that the pieces could shift unpredictably, and only by observing, planning, and collaborating could the towers stand. Myra, she and her teammates studied the pieces carefully. She noticed how certain modules balanced perfectly when connected in unusual ways, and she shared her idea with a teammate. Together, they built a tower that seemed impossible, leaning slightly at first, but becoming stable through careful adjustment. Above, the legends exchanged astonished glances. One of them, who had traveled across galaxies solving intricate structural problems, whispered in disbelief, "They don't just build, they invent while they build, and they teach each other as they go." Another nodded. "Every move is an experiment, they learn in real time." We never thought of approaching challenges like this. The day's exercises moved from physical coordination to creative thinking, each designed to combine multiple skills at once. One task required humans to solve a communication problem, transmitting information across a field without speaking or using visible signals. She quickly realized that the solution was rhythm. By tapping stones and using subtle foot patterns, the humans created a code that only their teammates could understand. Captain Lior watched with quiet pride as each human contributed, adding subtle improvements that enhanced the system. Even the legends could not resist marveling at this simple brilliance. They had faced species with advanced telepathy, technology, and training, yet these humans, without special powers, had discovered a solution that was elegant, efficient, and deeply human. The observation deck was filled with quiet awe. The humans' success did not come from strength or fear, it came from patience, observation, and ingenuity. During a brief break, the humans sat in small groups, sharing their observations and insights. She spoke softly to a teammate. I think the point isn't just solving the challenge, it's learning to think differently to notice what others miss. Her teammate nodded. And we do it together, that's what makes it work. Captain Lior smiled. He had designed the exercises to test not just skill, but cooperation, and he could see the results. Humans were learning faster than he could have imagined. The legends continued to watch, increasingly fascinated. One of them, whose abilities had been honed over millennia, admitted quietly, I envy them. They see the world in ways we've forgotten. Another added, their minds are flexible in ways our experience has never allowed. They adapt, improvise, and grow from each failure. That is remarkable. As afternoon approached, Captain Lior introduced the final exercise of the day, the simulation field. This was a vast area where humans faced scenarios that tested intuition, strategy, and emotional intelligence. They were required to predict patterns, anticipate changes, and support one another without explicit instructions. She and her teammates approached it cautiously. They were confident but aware that the simulation would demand creativity beyond anything they had tried before. The simulation shifted constantly. Walls appeared and vanished, pathways opened and closed, and puzzles altered without warning. Humans adjusted immediately. She noticed a subtle movement in the shadows, a clue that guided her to a hidden mechanism. She signaled silently to her teammates, who followed her lead. Together, they discovered solutions that seemed impossible. They celebrated quietly, exchanging nods and smiles, understanding the satisfaction came not from the result, but from the effort and collaboration. Above, the legends were silent for a long moment. They had seen countless civilizations, trained warriors, and brilliant minds, yet none had approached a challenge like these humans. Their methods were unconventional, creative, and deeply effective. One of the legends admitted, I never expected to learn anything from observing humans. Now, I realize we can learn a great deal. Captain Lior concluded the day's training with quiet reflection. Today, you've seen how much your minds and teamwork can achieve. Every step, every choice, every observation matters. The greatest strength comes not from individual ability, but from connection, understanding, and perseverance. Remember this, your creativity and cooperation will carry you further than anything else. The humans left the field with renewed energy. She felt a sense of growth she had not experienced before. She had learned to notice the small, seemingly insignificant details, to trust her instincts, and to rely on her team in ways that made her stronger. Each human carried a sense of quiet confidence, aware that they were developing skills that could take them beyond what anyone had imagined. The legends remained in their observation stations long after the humans had left. They had come expecting curiosity, perhaps mild amusement, but instead found themselves inspired. They were reminded that greatness did not always come from power or fame. Sometimes it emerged from determination, imagination, and the courage to learn and grow. The stars shone brightly above the earth, and the quiet training ground glimmered in the soft light. She lay on the grass for a moment, gazing at the sky, feeling the weight and excitement of discovery. She did not know she had been watched by the universe's greatest heroes, nor did she need to. Her focus was on learning, improving, and sharing ideas with her friends. Yet, even unknowingly, she had already begun to change the way the galaxy might one day view humans. As the sun set and the golden glow faded into twilight, Captain Lior gathered the trainees. Rest tonight. Tomorrow we go further. Every challenge you face teaches you something new, and every step prepares you for the unknown. Trust yourselves, trust each other. And remember, greatness is not given, it is discovered. The humans nodded, inspired and ready for what lay ahead. They had learned more than they could have imagined, and they had proven to themselves that collaboration, creativity, and adaptability were far more powerful than anyone had expected. Above, the observation station remained still, the legends silent and thoughtful. They had seen a glimpse of something extraordinary, a species that defied expectations not through weapons, not through technology, not through brute strength, but through ingenuity, cooperation, and an unyielding spirit. Humanity was quiet, unassuming, yet capable of brilliance that even the greatest heroes of the universe could not ignore. As night fell, she closed her eyes, feeling the gentle breeze on her face. She felt small in the vast universe, yet part of something larger. Something meaningful. She had no idea how far this training would take her, or how much it would be remembered. But in that moment, she understood that learning, growing, and working together were the true marks of strength. And somewhere above, the universe's greatest heroes watched silently, their disbelief replaced with admiration and awe. The first 2 days of training had passed, and the humans were ready for the next step. They would continue to push themselves, to adapt, to discover new ways of thinking and collaborating. And the galaxy would continue to watch, silently, as humans began to reveal the extraordinary potential that lay within their ordinary forms. The next day dawned with a soft glow across the training ground. Mist lingered over the fields, giving everything a dreamlike quality, while the humans gathered, energized and eager. Captain Lior walked among them, observing quietly as they prepared for the day's exercises. Today was different. The challenges would not only test their skills and intelligence, but also push them to think in ways no human or alien had attempted before. She looked around at her teammates. Each one carried the confidence earned from the previous days, but there was also a quiet curiosity in their eyes. None of them knew exactly what Captain Lior had planned, but they trusted his guidance. They understood that every challenge, no matter how strange, was designed to reveal hidden abilities and strengthen their cooperation. The first exercise began with a series of mirror puzzles. Large, reflective surfaces were placed throughout the field, and the humans had to navigate a path while solving optical illusions that concealed hidden objects. At first, it seemed impossible. Every reflection appeared to mislead, every angle distorted reality. Many would have panicked or given up, but she moved forward with patience, observing carefully. She noticed that the reflections were not random, they followed patterns. By adjusting her position and angle, she revealed hidden markers and guided her teammates through the maze of mirrors. The legends watched silently from their stations above. They had seen countless species attempt similar tasks, yet none had approached them with such subtle intelligence and adaptability. Humans did not merely follow instructions. They observed, questioned, and discovered solutions in ways that felt almost intuitive. One legend leaned toward another and whispered, "They don't just solve problems, they reinterpret them. They see possibilities that don't exist for the rest of us." As the mirror exercise concluded, Captain Lior gathered the humans for a brief reflection. "Notice how every challenge requires more than effort," he said. "It requires thinking differently, seeing patterns where others see confusion, and supporting one another when the path is unclear. This is the strength humans develop naturally, insight and collaboration." Next came a test of strategy and timing. The humans were presented with a series of floating platforms, each requiring careful navigation. Some platforms shifted, others reacted only to precise weight distribution, and a few appeared impossible to cross. She studied the setup, realizing that brute force would not work. Instead, she calculated the timing of each platform's movement and coordinated with her teammates. By signaling subtly and observing one another's actions, the team moved as a single, synchronized unit. The legends leaned closer, their curiosity growing. "They anticipate each other's movements," one said, "and they adjust instantly without verbal commands. This level of teamwork, I have never seen it executed like this." Another legend nodded. "It's instinctive yet refined." They are learning from each other in ways we often forget. During a short break, the humans shared insights about the platform exercise. She spoke softly to a teammate. "It's like a dance," she said. "Each step affects the next. If we move carefully and trust each other, it works perfectly." Her teammates smiled, nodding in agreement. They realized that communication did not always need words. Trust and observation were enough. The afternoon brought a different kind of challenge, the perception trial. Humans were placed in an open field where subtle cues, small sounds, gentle movements, and barely visible signs revealed hidden pathways and solutions. Myra, she immediately noticed how patterns in the grass suggested a safe route, and small markers guided her teammates. Each human contributed by observing from their own perspective, sharing insights silently or through subtle gestures. The legends observed, captivated. They had expected humans to struggle with subtle cues, but instead, they marveled at the humans' precision and creativity. One whispered in astonishment, "Even without advanced senses, they perceive details we might overlook. They integrate information so naturally." Another replied, "It's more than perception, it's understanding, predicting outcomes, and responding in harmony. Truly remarkable." Captain Lior then introduced a mental challenge. Humans were presented with complex symbols, patterns, and sequences that had no immediately apparent solution. Rather than giving instructions, he allowed them to explore freely. Myra, she, and her teammates quickly realized that the patterns were interrelated. By discussing possibilities, testing ideas, and observing results, they uncovered the underlying logic. Each discovery led to another, and slowly they pieced together solutions that initially seemed impossible. The legends, who had faced similar challenges countless times in their lifetimes, exchanged quiet words of admiration. They recognized a pattern they rarely saw. Humans did not simply solve problems. They adapted to the unknown, using intuition, observation, and collaboration to navigate complexity. It was a form of brilliance that was subtle but undeniable. Next came the creative exercise. Humans were given materials, basic tools, and a loose goal. Create a device or system that could achieve a specific outcome. There were no rules about design or approach. Myra, she, and her team experimented, trying ideas that seemed odd, rearranging components, testing different combinations, and learning from each failure. Slowly, they refined their approach and produced a solution that was both elegant and efficient. Captain Lior smiled. This was the point, to learn not just from success but from experimentation and persistence. The legends continued to watch, increasingly amazed. One of them said quietly, "These humans don't fear failure, they learn from it. And in that learning they surpass expectations." Another added, "They are building knowledge and skills simultaneously. It's humbling." As the day progressed, the humans faced a final challenge, the simulation network. This was a large field where dynamic problems appeared unexpectedly, shifting obstacles, cryptic signals, and changing goals. Myra, she, and her team had to navigate the field, solve puzzles, and complete tasks while adapting to sudden changes. Each human contributed in unique ways, sharing ideas, predicting patterns, and adjusting their strategies in real time. The legends leaned forward in silence, captivated. They had watched species with advanced powers and technology attempt similar challenges, yet the humans excelled not because of strength or tools, but because of collaboration, creativity, and determination. One whispered, "They are rewriting the rules of problem-solving. Their methods are unconventional, yet effective beyond imagination." By the time the simulation ended, the humans had accomplished more than even Captain Lior had expected. They had solved the puzzles, navigated obstacles, and discovered solutions that were simple, elegant, and deeply human. Myra, she, and her teammates shared smiles of quiet pride, understanding that their success came from persistence, cooperation, and imagination. Captain Lior gathered the humans for reflection. "Every exercise you complete teaches more than skill," he said. "It teaches awareness, collaboration, and confidence in your abilities. Humans have a unique gift, the ability to adapt, innovate, and learn in ways that cannot be predicted. Remember this. Trust yourselves, trust your team, and always look for new possibilities." Above, the observation station remained still, the legends watching in silence. They had arrived expecting curiosity, perhaps mild amusement, but they found themselves inspired. Humans, ordinary in appearance, displayed extraordinary intelligence, adaptability, and creativity. They had shown that greatness did not always come from power or tools. It came from ingenuity, collaboration, and the courage to explore the unknown. As evening fell, Myra, she, and her teammates walked through the training fields, discussing their experiences. They shared laughter, observations, and ideas for future challenges. Each conversation strengthened their bonds, their trust in each other, and their ability to approach problems from multiple perspectives. The legends, observing in quiet awe, began to understand the full extent of what they had witnessed. Humans did not rely on force, intimidation, or fame. They relied on creativity, perseverance, and cooperation. Every action was thoughtful, every decision considered, every solution uniquely human. It was a form of brilliance that even the greatest heroes of the galaxy could not replicate. Myra, she, paused by a small pond reflecting the twilight sky. She watched the gentle ripple of water and felt a sense of connection to her team, to the world, and to something greater. She did not know that the universe's greatest heroes were watching, nor did she need to. Her focus was on learning, improving, and discovering her own potential. Captain Lior looked at the horizon, satisfied. The humans had grown significantly in just a few days. He had designed the exercises to challenge, inspire, and reveal hidden abilities, and he could see that each trainee had discovered strengths they had never known. More importantly, they had learned to work together in ways that would carry them far beyond these fields. The legends remained in their stations, silent and thoughtful. They had seen many civilizations, trained warriors, and brilliant minds, yet none had approached these exercises as the humans had. Their methods were subtle, their solutions ingenious, and their growth undeniable. For the first time, the legends understood that humans could achieve greatness not by imitation, but by embracing their unique strengths. As night fell, the stars shone brightly above the earth. Myra, she lay on the grass, gazing at the sky, feeling a sense of awe and possibility. She understood that the journey was only beginning, that challenges would continue, and that each day offered new opportunities to learn and grow. The humans were ordinary by galactic standards, yet they had already shown glimpses of extraordinary potential. The observation station remained still, its presence unnoticed by the humans. The legends had gone silent, not out of boredom or dismissal, but out of admiration. They had witnessed something remarkable, a species that relied on creativity, collaboration, and determination to surpass expectations. And in that silence, they began to rethink everything they had believed about human potential. As the night deepened, Myra, she, closed her eyes, feeling the cool breeze and the soft hum of the world around her. She was ready for tomorrow, ready for challenges that would push her further, and ready to discover what humans were truly capable of. The legends above watched in quiet reverence, knowing that they were witnessing the rise of something extraordinary, something that could change the galaxy's understanding of greatness forever. The humans had grown in skill, in confidence, and in unity. They had shown that their strength lay not in what they could destroy or conquer, but in what they could create, understand, and achieve together. And somewhere above, the universe's greatest heroes went silent, realizing that they had much to learn from the species they had once underestimated. The sun rose again over the training ground, bathing the field in warm, golden light. Mist clung lightly to the edges of the obstacles, making everything look soft and inviting, yet the challenges ahead were anything but easy. Captain Lior arrived early, walking among his team with calm authority. The humans were already stretching, warming up, and preparing themselves mentally. Today's exercises would test not only skill, intuition, and teamwork, but also creativity in the face of unexpected change. Myra, she stretched her arms and glanced at her teammates. Each of them had grown noticeably over the past days. Their confidence was higher, their awareness sharper, and their coordination far better than it had been. Even so, none of them knew what Captain Lior had planned for this day. There was an air of quiet excitement, an understanding that the challenges today could be unlike anything they had faced before. The first exercise began with a complex maze, but unlike previous days, this one was alive in subtle ways. Walls shifted slowly, pathways changed direction, and hidden markers appeared only when humans observed carefully. Myra, she studied the maze cautiously. She noticed slight differences in texture on the walls and a faint pattern in the floor that indicated the path forward. She signaled to her teammate, who nodded, and together they moved through the changing maze with precision. Above, the universe's greatest heroes observed in silent awe. They had seen countless civilizations face obstacles, yet none adapted so quickly to a maze that changed with every step. One legend whispered to another, "They are not only seeing patterns, they are creating them in real time, learning as they go." Another replied, "This is not instinct alone. It is understanding, observation, and innovation all combined." After navigating the maze successfully, the humans moved to a problem that combined physical skill with creativity. Captain Lior presented a set of scattered modules, each able to connect in multiple ways. The goal was simple in explanation but complex in execution. Build a structure that could carry a small weight across a span of uneven terrain. Myra, she examined the pieces, turning them over, testing angles and noticing subtle differences that could make or break their plan. She shared her insights with a teammate, suggesting a design that at first seemed risky, leaning in ways that others might have avoided. The teammate, trusting Myra, she, and applying their own ideas, helped assemble the modules into a stable structure. They tested it carefully, making minor adjustments, and finally the bridge held perfectly. Captain Lior's calm smile acknowledged their ingenuity. From above, the legends were fascinated. They had built structures themselves countless times, yet these humans approached the problem differently. They did not rely on known formulas, brute strength, or complex technology. Instead, they observed, experimented, and adapted together. One legend murmured, "Even the smallest detail is noticed. They anticipate problems before they occur and correct them without hesitation." Another added, "This is the essence of innovation, and they are doing it naturally without prompting." The next challenge focused on communication and teamwork under subtle constraints. Humans were placed in a field with obstacles and minor hazards that required careful observation. They could not speak aloud, use visible signals, or touch one another. Only through understanding each other's movements, interpreting slight gestures, and noticing small patterns could they succeed. Myra, she quickly observed her teammates' tendencies and coordinated their movements with subtle signals, slight shifts of weight, and eye contact. The legends watched, silent and captivated. They had assumed humans would struggle without overt communication, yet here they were moving as a single entity, predicting each other's actions with almost instinctive precision. One legend whispered, "They read each other as if their thoughts are connected." Another replied, "It is not telepathy, it is trust, observation, and shared understanding, something we often overlook in our pursuit of power." After a brief rest, the humans faced a challenge that combined memory, strategy, and creativity. Captain Lior placed a series of symbols across the training ground, each representing a step in a complex sequence. The humans had to interpret the patterns, identify connections, and reconstruct the sequence accurately. Myra, she studied the symbols, noticing subtle repetitions and deviations. She shared her observations with teammates who contributed ideas, tested hypotheses, and refined the sequence. The legends were captivated. They had observed intelligent species solve similar problems, but humans approached it differently. They did not rely on brute mental power or rigid calculations. Instead, they observed patterns, experimented with possibilities, learned from errors, and collaborated fluidly. One legend whispered, "Even the greatest minds could not approach this so flexibly." Another replied, "And they do it with joy, with curiosity. That is extraordinary." Next came an exercise that required lateral thinking and creativity. Captain Lior presented a situation where humans needed to transport delicate objects across a field without touching them directly. He gave basic tools and let them explore solutions freely. Myra, she and her team experimented with pulleys, levers, and inventive arrangements of materials. They tried several approaches, failed, adjusted, and finally developed a system that worked efficiently. Captain Lior observed quietly, proud of their perseverance and inventiveness. The legends, watching from above, were astonished. The humans had taken what seemed like an impossible task and turned it into a learning opportunity. One legend murmured, "They invent solutions rather than following them. They adapt, iterate, and improve naturally." Another added, "And every mistake becomes knowledge. They turn challenges into growth effortlessly." As the afternoon progressed, the humans faced a field simulation that combined elements of all prior exercises. They navigated obstacles, solved puzzles, interpreted subtle cues, and collaborated creatively. Myra, she moved fluidly with her teammates, guiding them through challenges, noticing subtle patterns, and adjusting plans as new obstacles arose. Each success built confidence, and every failure became a chance to learn and improve. Above, the legends were quiet, captivated by the humans' abilities. They had seen many species attempt similar exercises, yet humans approached them in ways that were entirely new. One legend whispered, "It is not just skill, it is understanding, imagination, and cooperation all at once." Another replied, "They surprise us because they do not follow our expectations. They create new paths as they go." As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, Captain Lior gathered the humans for reflection. Today, you have faced challenges that required observation, creativity, and teamwork. Each obstacle taught something new, and each solution demonstrated your growth. Remember this, your strength is not in power or fame, but in your ability to adapt, to think, and to work together. That is what makes humans extraordinary. The humans nodded, feeling a quiet pride in what they had accomplished. Myra, she glanced at her teammates, seeing the same sense of accomplishment mirrored in their eyes. They had faced challenges that at first seemed impossible, yet together they had overcome them through creativity, observation, and collaboration. The legends remained in their stations, silent but deeply moved. They had witnessed brilliance that was subtle but undeniable. Humans did not rely on weapons, advanced technology, or raw strength. Their intelligence, creativity, and ability to work together allowed them to achieve feats that even the greatest heroes of the galaxy could not have anticipated. One legend whispered, "Perhaps we underestimated them for too long." Another added, "We have much to learn from their simplicity and determination." As night fell, the humans walked through the fields, reflecting on their experiences. They discussed patterns they had noticed, shared ideas for improvement, and celebrated successes without arrogance. Myra, she felt a sense of unity and connection that was new to her. Each exercise, each challenge, each observation had not only taught skill, but also trust and collaboration. The legends, observing silently, began to understand why humans had earned admiration across the galaxy. Their brilliance was not in domination or power, but in adaptability, creativity, and cooperation. Every action, every choice, every solution reflected a uniquely human strength that could not be replicated or predicted. Myra, she sat by a small stream, watching the reflection of the stars on the water. She felt a quiet excitement, knowing that each day brought new lessons, new challenges, and new opportunities to grow. She did not know that the universe's greatest heroes were watching her every move, nor did she need to. Her focus was on learning, exploring, and discovering what humans could accomplish together. Captain Lior looked at the horizon, satisfied. The humans had achieved remarkable growth in just a few days. They had learned to think differently, to trust their instincts, and to collaborate in ways that would carry them far beyond the training ground. More importantly, they had learned to enjoy the process of discovery, to value insight over mere accomplishment, and to find strength in unity rather than in competition. The legends above remained silent, but their thoughts were full of admiration and reflection. They had expected curiosity or perhaps mild amusement when observing humans, yet they had found themselves inspired. The humans had shown that intelligence, creativity, and collaboration could achieve what raw power often could not. One legend whispered, "We may be great, but they remind us that greatness takes many forms." Another replied, "And sometimes the smallest, most unassuming species can teach the greatest lessons." As night deepened, the stars shone brightly over Earth. Myra, she closed her eyes, feeling the cool breeze and the gentle hum of the world around her. She understood that the journey was only beginning, that each day would bring new lessons, and that humans had the potential to achieve extraordinary things. Above, the observation station remained still, the legends watching silently. They had come to observe, but they were learning as much as the humans themselves. The humans had grown in skill, insight, and unity. They had faced challenges that would have daunted others, yet they approached each one with creativity, patience, and trust. They had demonstrated that strength was not always about power or technology, but about imagination, adaptability, and collaboration. And somewhere above, the universe's greatest heroes went silent, realizing that they were witnessing something extraordinary. The rise of humans not as conquerors or warriors, but as thinkers, creators, and problem solvers capable of surprising even the most accomplished beings. In the galaxy, as the training ground quieted under the night sky, Myra, she felt a sense of calm determination. She knew tomorrow would bring new challenges, but she also knew that she and her teammates had grown stronger in ways that went beyond physical skill. They had discovered the power of collaboration, creativity, and adaptability, the very traits that would set humans apart in the vast universe. The legends watched on, their silence a reflection of awe and contemplation. Humanity, ordinary in appearance, had already achieved something extraordinary. They had shown that heroism was not just about power or fame, but about understanding, innovation, and the courage to grow. And in that quiet moment, the greatest heroes of the universe realized that humans might not only reach their level, they might teach them something they had never known. The sun rose slowly over the training ground, painting the horizon with shades of gold and pink. A gentle breeze carried the scent of grass and earth, and the humans moved with quiet anticipation. Today was different from the previous days. Captain Lior had prepared the final exercises, designed to combine everything they had learned: creativity, teamwork, observation, and adaptability. The humans were ready, though they did not know the full scale of the challenges ahead. Myra, she stretched and looked around at her teammates. Everyone had grown noticeably since the start of training. Their confidence was high, their movements precise, and their minds sharp. Yet beneath it all, there was a sense of excitement and curiosity. They had learned to expect the unexpected and to see opportunity in every obstacle. Today would test everything they had learned, and perhaps reveal strengths they had not yet discovered. The first exercise began with a series of shifting platforms floating above a vast field. Each platform moved unpredictably, and some tilted or rotated slightly. The humans had to cross the field without touching the ground, working together to anticipate movements and maintain balance. Myra, she observed carefully, noticing subtle vibrations that hinted at the platform's patterns. She communicated silently with her teammates, guiding them step by step. Above, the universe's greatest heroes watched in quiet awe. They had expected humans to struggle with such an exercise, yet the humans navigated the field with remarkable coordination. One legend whispered to another, "They are not only observing, they are predicting, adjusting, and learning in real time. Their cooperation is flawless." Another replied, "They turn uncertainty into opportunity. Even the most calculated strategies among our kind would not work as efficiently." Once across the platforms, the humans faced a challenge that tested their ability to innovate under constraints. Captain Lior presented a series of puzzles, each with multiple solutions. The catch was that the materials provided were limited, forcing the humans to think creatively and share ideas. Myra, she quickly analyzed the options, noticing how certain components could be combined in ways not immediately obvious. She suggested a method to a teammate who refined the idea, and together they constructed a solution that exceeded expectations. The legends observed, fascinated. One said quietly, "They are inventing solutions while solving problems." They learn from each other and improve instantly. Another added, "It is not brute skill or power, it is ingenuity, creativity, and collaboration, something we rarely see in even the greatest of species." Next, Captain Lior led the humans to the observation field. Here, subtle cues, tiny movements, soft sounds, and faint patterns indicated hidden goals. The humans were not allowed to speak or touch, only to rely on observation and intuition. Myra, she noticed a pattern in the shifting shadows and signaled her teammates. Together, they uncovered hidden markers and advanced through the field. Each step required trust, awareness, and creativity. The legends above were silent, captivated by what they saw. They had faced species with superior senses, advanced technology, and centuries of training, yet none had approached the challenges with such fluid intelligence. One legend whispered, "Their perception, intuition, and cooperation surpass anything I have seen. They are extraordinary in the quietest ways." Another replied, "Even the smallest gestures convey understanding. They are connected without words, without force. It is remarkable." After a brief rest, Captain Lior introduced the final challenge, the simulation network. This sprawling exercise combined every obstacle the humans had faced, with new twists that required adaptability and quick thinking. Shifting mazes, reflective surfaces, floating platforms, and complex puzzles appeared simultaneously, each demanding attention and collaboration. Myra She took a deep breath, ready to apply everything she had learned. The humans began navigating the simulation with calm focus. Myra She guided her teammates through shifting mazes, noticed subtle patterns in reflections, and anticipated movements across floating platforms. Each human contributed their own insights, communicating silently, adjusting to sudden changes, and solving problems in creative ways. Every failure became a lesson, every small success built confidence, and every challenge strengthened the team. Above, the legends watched in growing astonishment. They had come expecting curiosity, perhaps mild amusement, but instead they were witnessing something extraordinary. Humans were excelling, not through power or technology, but through imagination, observation, and cooperation. One legend whispered, "They are redefining what it means to overcome challenges. Their approach is unlike anything in the galaxy." Another nodded. "They are not the strongest, the fastest, or the oldest, yet they are among the most capable beings we have ever seen." As the simulation progressed, Myra She noticed a subtle connection between the floating platforms and reflective markers. She quickly communicated her discovery to her teammates. They adjusted their movements, shifted pieces in the puzzles, and solved the interconnected challenges with remarkable efficiency. Captain Lior observed quietly, a sense of pride and satisfaction in his eyes. The humans had not only applied their skills, they had integrated everything they had learned into a seamless performance. The legends leaned forward, their silence filled with respect and awe. They realized that they had underestimated humans for too long. The species they had once dismissed as fragile or ordinary had demonstrated brilliance that could not be ignored. They did not rely on brute force, intimidation, or superior technology. They relied on creativity, determination, and a willingness to work together, learning from mistakes and improving constantly. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, the humans completed the simulation. Myra She and her teammates shared quiet smiles, feeling the sense of accomplishment that came from overcoming the most complex challenges they had faced. They had learned to trust themselves and each other, to observe carefully, to adapt quickly, and to create solutions where none seemed possible. Captain Lior gathered the humans for reflection. "You have faced challenges that tested your minds, bodies, and teamwork," he said. "Every obstacle you have overcome is a step toward understanding your potential. Remember, greatness is not always about power or fame. It comes from creativity, adaptability, and the courage to work together. That is what makes humans extraordinary." Above, the legends remained silent, their thoughts full of admiration. They had watched humans learn, grow, and succeed in ways that even the greatest heroes of the universe could not replicate. One legend whispered, "We have witnessed something remarkable." Humans do not follow expectations, they redefine them. Another added, "And in doing so, they remind us that even the most accomplished beings can learn new ways to think, to create, and to grow." As night fell, the humans walked through the training ground, reflecting on their experiences. Myra She spoke softly to a teammate. "I think we've learned more than just skills. We've learned to trust each other, to notice what others miss, and to create solutions no one thought possible." Her teammate nodded, smiling. "And we've done it together. That's what makes it work." The legends continued to observe, quietly impressed. They had seen countless species, brilliant minds, and powerful heroes, yet humans had surprised them at every turn. They had discovered potential that was not dependent on strength or tools, but on imagination, adaptability, and cooperation. It was a reminder that greatness could appear in unexpected forms. Captain Lior looked at the horizon, satisfied. The humans had grown tremendously. They had learned to trust themselves and each other, to see patterns, solve problems, and create solutions with ingenuity. More importantly, they had learned to enjoy the process of discovery, to value teamwork over competition, and to recognize that every challenge was an opportunity to grow. The observation station above remained still. The legends had gone silent, not from disinterest, but from awe. They realized that they had underestimated humans, that this species possessed qualities beyond raw power or fame. Humans were capable of brilliance in ways that were subtle, creative, and deeply effective. They had not only succeeded in the training, they had inspired even the greatest heroes of the galaxy. Myra She sat by a stream, watching the stars reflect on the water. She felt a sense of calm confidence and excitement. She did not know the legends were watching, nor did she need to. Her focus was on learning, growing, and discovering what humans could achieve. Yet unknowingly, she and her teammates had already changed the way the galaxy would view humanity. The final exercise was complete, but the lessons remained. The humans had shown that strength came from creativity, resilience, and collaboration. They had demonstrated that intelligence and adaptability could surpass even the most advanced technology. They had revealed a brilliance that was uniquely human, capable of surprising the universe's greatest heroes. Above, the legends finally exchanged words. "They have redefined heroism," one whispered. "Not through power, but through understanding, innovation, and teamwork." Another added, "We thought we were the best, but we have learned something far more valuable today. Humans have taught us that greatness takes many forms." The humans, unaware of the full extent of their impact, gathered around Captain Lior for the final reflection. "Remember this moment," he said. "Every challenge, every discovery, every lesson learned is part of your journey. You have shown that humans can achieve greatness not by imitation or force, but by thinking, creating, and growing together. This is only the beginning of what you are capable of." Myra, she, and her teammates smiled, their hearts full of pride and hope. They had grown stronger, smarter, and more connected than ever before. They had faced challenges that tested every aspect of themselves and had succeeded in ways they could not have imagined. They had learned that human potential was limitless when guided by creativity, trust, and collaboration. As the stars sparkled overhead and the training ground grew quiet, the legends observed one last time. Their silence was a tribute to the humans' brilliance. They had come expecting curiosity, perhaps amusement, but they had witnessed something extraordinary. Humanity had not only survived the training, they had excelled, redefined heroism, and reminded the galaxy that greatness could emerge in the most unexpected forms. Myra, she looked up at the night sky, feeling the vastness of the universe and the endless possibilities ahead. She understood that their journey was only beginning, that each day would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and new opportunities to grow. The humans had proven themselves not through power, but through determination, imagination, and cooperation. And somewhere above, the universe's greatest heroes remained silent, carrying the lesson they had learned from observing humans. They had seen a species that defied expectations, that approached challenges with creativity and courage, and that reminded even the most accomplished beings in the galaxy that greatness could take many forms. The humans had grown, not only in skill but in spirit. They had shown that heroism was not defined by strength or fame, but by the ability to think, create, and work together. And as the night settled over the training ground, Myra, she, and her teammates understood that the journey ahead would be filled with possibility, discovery, and the quiet, extraordinary brilliance that was uniquely human. The legends remained in their stations, silent, thoughtful, and forever changed. They had observed humans train, and in doing so, they had witnessed the rise of a species capable of surprising the universe itself. Humanity had proven that even the ordinary could achieve the extraordinary, and in that quiet realization, the galaxy would never be the same.